And the next thing you would see is the welcome sign, and this week it happened to be Beaver Camp, Outpost Camp, and Grandparent-Grandchild Camp. Why do we have the summer camps? The summer camps are provided to us so that we can support the ministries that are going on within our church, but giving us a place that we could worship and work on faith formation and grow our church leaders in a setting that's not. Yeah, and this would be inside the cabin, a couple of campers that I think are supposed to be getting ready for bed, but we'll see. There are all different types of buildings at the different sites, and this happens to be the meeting house. This would be where you would have a choir camp concert, or Circle of Friends does their Saturday morning worship at this. This happens to be a group of choir campers just after their concert. And this would be Prettium in the Adult Center. And this is Big Rocks, going through the big crevice at Pilgrim Hills. And then we have Tumble Hills, which I believe you two are quite familiar with.
I want to go to Pilgrim Hills this year.
Well, they don't have the pool camp at Pilgrim Hills. Oh, okay. So Pilgrim Hills, or Temple Hills, is located in Belleville, which is right off of 71. And they have seasonal cabins, which means you can only stay there in the summer, or they have year-round cabins. And the main attraction to Temple Hills is that it has 3 big hills where you can see all around, and some of them have crosses on them, and we'll see an example of that in a second. All right, so this is what? This looks like his cabin at Temple Hills, and this would be a seasonal cabin. Does that kind of look like your cabin too? Or what did yours look like?
No, mine has like a concrete porch. There's like a giant slope.
All right, so let's see if we're going to see your cabin. Well, this would be another cabin. This would be on, they kind of have 2 hills. One they call 12 Cabin Hill, and one they call 6 Cabin Hill. The first cabin was from 12 Cabin Hill, and this would be an example of a cabin from 6 Cabin Hill.
She wants.
All right, tell them about that.
I think this is my cabin. It's definitely my cabin. Because there's a giant slope at the end.
Yes, and this would have been one of the year-round cabins. So the bathrooms are inside, where with your cabin, you had to go outside to use the bathroom.
This also looks like the inside of my cabin.
Oh, okay.
That looks like the inside of my cabin.
All right, the inside of your cabin. All right, and here are a few campers that look like they're displaying all of the fuzzy stuffed animals that they brought with them so they wouldn't be lonely without their parents. They also, at Temple Hills, this is what's known as the barn, and that is also year-round living space. So if you went in the winter, you might stay down here. It has a big open area, and then it has bunk beds, and it also has individual rooms with 2 or 3 beds to each room. And then there's also Memorial. This is set up as a suite. So you would have 5 or 6 beds in a room, and then you would have a bathroom all attached, and there's 4 bedrooms on the top level and 4 bedrooms on the bottom level. And then at Temple Hills, they have Outpost Camp. And Outpost Camp is where you would sleep in tents or sleep in wagons in the woods. It's more rustic camping. You're cooking almost all of your meals, and you're pretty much by yourself in your camp of 16 to 18 people at one time. You're roughing it, you're right. They are. They are. Some people, it's not for them. This year, just like last year, we have camps for every age, every single week, whether at Temple Hills or Pilgrim Hills. You could have a 2nd grade through 12th grade camp going on each week. And there are over 50 different camps in the brochure, and there are brand new camps this year. So there are camps for elementary kids, youth, junior high to high school, adult camps, grandparent-grandchild camps. There's family camps, or what's called intergenerational camps, so it could be any age, any age group. There are what's called hand-in-hand camp for people with developmental disabilities. And there are also off-site camps. There's whitewater rafting camp. I believe this year they're having canoe camp. So they will actually come into Pilgrim Hills or Temple Hills, and then you're off-site for the rest of the time. This is an example of hand-in-hand camp where they're marching up to the Wednesday night cookout in their parade. This would be an example of choir camp. They're putting on their choir performance for the parents in the meeting house. This is confirmation camp. Confirmation camp would be for people that are going to be confirmed into the church. Some churches use it as their entire confirmation program. They go for an entire week, and when they get back on Sunday, they get confirmed. Some churches have a 2-year confirmation class, and they'll go either between the 2 years, they'll do it at the start of their camp, or the start of confirmation, or it'll be the very end of their confirmation program. And I think some of you are familiar with this camp.
Yes.
All right, tell me a little bit about Love the Pool.
It's awesome. It's very awesome.
And what did you do there?
Swim.
I heard if we did have a rainy day, they said you probably would swim in any maybe any kind of weather condition besides snow or like a thunderstorm.
That's right. You swim how many times a day at least?
4,
3.
because you get
3,
it
2.
you get it for a polar swim because polar bears get the rain swim, and then you go to breakfast and you go swimming again, and you like and you go outside for a while, you play, and then I think it's swimming again.
Yep. All right, how about let your brother finish?
Well, there's a lot of activities you can do there. And the polar swim, like, every time I went to the polar swim, it wasn't cold at all. It was super warm. But when you go to swim during the day, it's freezing.
It's kind of a hazard of Love the Pool. My recommendation is you bring more than one bathing suit. All right. And then there's sports camp. Would you like to tell us a little bit about sports camp?
Sports camp was amazing because I'm really into sports, so going a week and playing all different kinds of sports was really, really cool. I learned how to play soccer and lacrosse, which I don't have those at my school, but I really want to know how to play those. And I learned how to, what did I learn how to do? I learned how to do a lot of stuff. Oh, I went canoeing. It was the most amazing thing ever. And then a week after I got back home, my grandmother took me canoeing, so I felt really like in charge because I knew what all was going on. And I made a lot of friends, which a lot of my friends that I made were friends that were seniors, which aren't going to be back next year. So that kind of makes me a little sad, but I made a lot of friends, and it was a lot of fun. I had a blast.
Okay. And there's also Mad Camp. So this would be a picture of Anna. And there, she was at music, mime, art, dance, and